man with the big kidneys. It sounds painful. Anyway, my mother used to say that to me, right? Oh, here he comes, the man with the big kidneys. And I remember at first being a little bit thrown by it. I remember wondering, had I some affliction? And in truth, I did have some affliction. And you know what the affliction was? The affliction was thinking above my station. That's what the affliction was. The man with the big kidneys is one of those semi-derogatory terms. Perhaps it's got its roots in Dublinese, I don't know, but it's for somebody who has big dreams, for somebody who thinks beyond where they came from, that they could in fact have a bigger life than their forebears had. And I'll be honest and say, yes, happy to say that I am the man with the big kidneys. I always have believed there is more out there, more to life. You and I are where we are today because of our past experiences, and if we want to go somewhere else tomorrow, we simply got to learn new stuff and perhaps take new directions. So the man with the big kidneys, which started out as a semi-derogatory term, in fact turned into something quite powerful. But there's perhaps a more sinister side to the phrase, the man with the big kidneys. Here in Ireland, we're renowned for having the crack, for the sort of sure to be grand type of attitude. And that works perfectly well so long as everybody buys into sure to be grand, right? But when somebody begins to get ahead of themselves and somebody begins to take a step out of the sure to be grand melee and they begin to get ahead, the crowd tends to say, see your man there? Man with the big kidneys, he's changed, not the same. And you know what? They're right. He's not the same, or she's not the same. Because to get ahead, you can't be the same. You've got to be brave enough to step out of the crowd, and you have to be willing to learn new stuff. And in the process, you might have to leave the crowd behind, and that's part of the price that you may have to pay for getting ahead. There is a sense that in America, our American cousins celebrate success. And they also sometimes celebrate, and oftentimes celebrate failure as a stepping stone towards success. And there's this general sense that if somebody gets ahead and they've the nice house on top of the hill and the fancy car in the driveway, others, ambitious types, are often known to say, someday I'm going to have that big house on the hill. Someday I'm going to have a fancy car just like he has. In Ireland, we have the tendency to say that, see your man with the house on the top of the hill and the fancy car in the driveway, someday I'm going to get that fecker. And you know this to be true, right? Anyway, with that general mindset, how does one get ahead? And the simple answer is you've got to think differently from the crowd. You've got to step out from the crowd. You've got to be the man or the woman with the big kidneys to believe that you can be bigger, better, bolder tomorrow than you were today, that your life can be bigger, brighter, more beautiful, more fulfilling than that of your parents. If you believe that, well, then you've simply got to step out and make it happen for yourself. I remember my dad was a salesman all his life, and he was brilliant, best salesman ever. But the truth is, he didn't ever get paid in direct proportion to his talents. His bosses used leverage to get paid more than he did. He produced the results. He was the guy on the ground making the sales and creating the turnover for the company. But the people who employed him were the ones who created wealth, and that used to upset me. I remember at one stage he worked for a particular company, and the company was sold and the founders made something like 11 million euro each. And he got nothing when the business was sold. And I remember asking him one day, did they work 11 million times harder than you? And he sort of stopped and said, no, they didn't. But you see, they had the foresight to create the business system that created the leverage, that created the wealth. So really, you and I, if we're going to get ahead, we've got to be the man or the woman with the big kidneys, and we've got to decide for ourselves that there is more to life and we'd like more out of life. And if we do, then we've got to begin to believe in ourselves that we deserve that. I'm back to leverage. I'm back to the cash flow quadrant. I'm back to you understanding the difference between the employee, the self-employed individual, the business owner, the investor, and you deciding from where you would like to earn your crust in the years to come. And so, my friend, I'd like you to join me. I'd like you to become a self-proclaimed man or woman with big kidneys. And let's stretch ourselves for a bigger, better, brighter, more productive life in the future. And let's take the steps necessary today to educate ourselves, to become the person that we need to become so that the business will follow us and create the lifestyle that we want. So now you know what the man with the big kidneys means, and thank you for joining me for this week's Coffee with Colm. Think about and consider what's been shared here today. Ask yourself what impact might it have on you, and use it to inform some of your decisions, your decision-making process in the next week. And then please come back next week and let's share another coffee together. We'll take another snippet, another couple of lessons, put it out there to see where it might lead. In the meantime, have a great week. Love my coffee. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.